Hello. Today I'm gonna show you a mix, an orchestral mix, and hopefully show you some tips about how you want to do mixes, special techniques to add with, to add a lot of things. And so let's begin. We will hear first the finished mix, then we'll hear the rough mix and try to work from there and see what I did. So let me cut my mic. Alright, let's hear now the rough mix. So this is how it started, and I will work from there, try to tell you what I did, how it works. So let's go. Okay, so let's start. So immediately after hearing this, I wanted to have more weight and depth to the percussions because they were kind of thin. So let's solo them. I didn't solo anything during the mixing process. Let's maybe hear the choir and the strings while it is playing. Wait. Boom. Okay. So this is the most epic part, so that's why I wanted to go here, add weight, and as you see I made a hierarchy. So when I listen to a song, I purposefully make a hierarchy of what is the most important to hear. So first I did percussion bass choir is the trio that pushes the whole track. Then you have the brass and string shorts, theremin with voice, piano, string longs, winds. So yeah, let's start with the percussions. I will mute that because it is very loud. So maybe like that you cannot hear, but the taikos are doing this. And drums this. Put together. So the first thing I wanted to add is on the taikos I noticed the subs were not up enough, not loud enough, and I wanted to make it more consistent, so I did compression and under 100 Hz. Then I also added this, so wait, I will demonstrate as I go. More subs, and then I added a bit crusher by Airwindows. It's very subtle, but it adds some sharpness to it. And then it was just two EQs, but the basic gist of it is that I put the lows louder and the highs quieter. So like under 1000 Hz is more than 6 dB boosted, and higher than 2K is 11, like 12 dB attenuated. So because this was already doing this, that's why I did solo. So without the width a little more clear. So for this now, first thing I added this, some more presence. 4.5K and 5K are the, I don't know how you say presence, the sharpness. So wait, right? You hear how much it changes the sound. Next I added this by Airwindows again, Energy 2, which is something that can take a not so good recording with not so good highs and kind of hi-fi in noise. It's, you know, let's hear. So that's a very good thing. Then I added some compression. I used compress saturator because it was a little more logical to add saturation, to add weight to the drums. and in the mix you hear it helps cut through. Okay, and lastly I boosted the sides, and the reason why I don't do this and this is because I mean the separation as you see here, if I do this, it sounds a bit weird, you know, but when you boost the sides channel, it makes it doesn't change the place, the location of your thing, but it just makes it a little wider, you know. So that's already a big difference. Now to add some weight, I put this, which is a bus with Fathom 5 on it. So as you see, the taikos and the drums are going both to this and also to this, and this is basically what you get when you put a bass bus, you know. So this is going here. For now it's just doubling because I didn't activate the effects. So first thing, this is just automation, so let's cut it now. Here, this is what it does. So Phantom 5 is a very special kind of thing. Wait. So it's really good saturation on the lows, and it had a lot more width than just saturating everything, and it's just in general better. So without without and with, it's a low volume because it's just adding some weight. And so let's hear with the both. So trick number one is bass bus. You can use it with Airwindows. It's already the greatest thing. So next I had basses in mind. So those are the two basses. And so I wanted to add a bit more sharpness. So first thing, I added more bite. So this is another plugin by Airwindows. A little bit hard to hear. And since it's very slow, it's not as sharp as if you added bites on percussions that I will show you later. But it is there. And so light, and then a lot more highs. hear krrr, krrr of the bass, which I really liked. Then Big Crush, a little wet. It adds a little more weight, you know. Then you have also the same thing as the taikos. I wanted to make the lows more consistent, so a little more above at 150 Hz. Sorry for the crackles, it's my CPU. Then Phantom 5, like the bus, but now I'm putting it on the channel. It's really a wonderful tool for this kind of thing. So and it helps cut through the whole thing also, so it also helps in the little speakers, not just ones who can reproduce bass, because as it adds saturation you can hear it above like 250 Hz, you know, the low mids, and so. What did I put after? Oh shoot. Choir, oh yes, that's right. So these are it. First thing, I wanted to fix the padding, so because it was a little off, especially in things like this. You hear it to the right, so it's inconsistent. I wanted it to be centered more. So that's why there's an automation. Now it's in the percussions thing. Okay. So first thing I wanted to add is a little less common, but I wanted to add an amplifier, you know, guitar amp, because it was missing a lot of the width and the edge, you know. So and just lowered it down. And it makes it a little more here audible and bigger when you put all the effects after. So then I put why low pass nasty, it's just low pass saturation, and you blend it in the thing. Then energy 2, so again it hi-fis the highs. And then okay, so more mids, a little less on the higher side, and a little less boxiness. Sluicenic, this is a thing by Airwindows again. It's making the highs, super highs, shine a lot, so like above 14K or whatever. and it was important for me because those choir felt very like band passed, low pass, and I needed them to be open. Let's hear with this, the three things that I mentioned. Okay. And bass, 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 bass. Okay. I will put this. This is the stereo enhancer, but it also I automate the volume on here. So just so we hear better in this. So I put some reverb, and this is some reverb that I made for it. You can hear it's not that big, you know. And so what I did, oh shit, was bad. What I did is I put this galactic, and then I put compressor on it, pressure 5, and preponderant, which is for mids to stand out the high mids and yeah, have more intensity. And together this is a very epic reverb. When you have very big and compressed, then the high mids are very present and you have less low end, and then just lower it. I don't know how much I put it down. Oh, okay, then I put this to just add more gain, so it's boo boo boo. And transient processor. Okay, so already with all of this we have a pretty good thing going on. Let's hear. Wait. Then I felt that the drums, if you put everything, they kind of missed some reverb. They were very dry, so let's hear first. You hear it's quite dry, and I wanted to hear some, like, if you hear whoosh, whoosh, after the snares, after the things, so I put the exact same reverb as choir on the bass drum. So let's hear what the bass drum is doing. First is first using the fullness band, so 152 to 250 Hz, and it's compressing it. Maybe there was too much. Let's hear it. Oh yeah, no, I'm boosting it. Okay. Then some transient processing, because percussions, you want punch. Then this, so this is a bit more complicated. Reverb, then beat pressure, So, and because is not completely wet, so this adds a very on the very highs, extreme highs. So to accentuate even more, I put Synesthenic, which, if you remember, is accentuating the super highs. So now you hear this. That's what it's doing. It's adding a lot of air. So and I put it like this. Okay, and then I did more bytes. So bytes, you heard we put on the basses, and now you can hear better what it really does. Listen to the spikes and the transients. So it's adding more bytes, as the name suggests. Then I put the same reverb. So it's really yeah, and it's really a good combination. And I also did so less of the muddy mids, highs. At 3.5k is not so good, and high pass because it's the drums, so they have a lot of flows, especially after this. So I put this, and it's a really epic reverb. Maybe it sounds like too much when you solo it, but with the whole track is okay. So yeah, that is all for the drums. Maybe I can talk about the cymbals, but it's just hi-fiing the highs, adding reverb, and then some light compression for volume ratio. So it's a little more long, and it's a little more emphasizing the highs, opening air. You also have some delay on the swell. So this is the swell. And if I put this, now if I A-B this, where do we hear? We hear here. So that's not very long, especially if you hear with the whole mix. And so that's really how you want to elongate the thing. Okay, so I believe after the choir I had the brass and shorts, the string shorts. So wait, let's put the, so this is the shorts, and I will explain what the automations are doing later. And this, okay. And what is it? Oh yes. So the shorts, high string shorts, I call them. First thing, on the violas it sounded a bit too muddy, and too, you know, when it hurts to hear when you put it loud. It's usually not because it's too much highs, but it's more too much mids, and so too much boxiness, and so I put down 640 Hz. I boosted the presence, so okay. After that I put less of the 3.5K, probably because it was already used by the brass and I wanted the strings to have more of the treble than the 3.5K. Wait. Yeah, you hear it's making just a little more clear. After that, okay, you know, the mids and boxiness were too much after that, even, so I put some light compression in it. Yeah, 3.5 to 1 is not too much. And it's boosting a little bit, but it's also keeping it in a box, so it's not going too far. And just some gain and automation. Wait. Sorry, let's hear the brass. So it hadn't a lot of attack and I wanted to fix that, so those are the shorts. First, you see it's a little bit unusual. I put pitch shifter, and with pitch shifter in it, it's adding the octave above and full density, full duration, so it's a good grain. It also had a little bit of delay. And it's adding just a little more width to the highs that it didn't have, because we don't have a lot of players in this track, so it's important to make each and every one of them a bit more loud, you know. More of the mids. And after that, well, wait. I put some more of 680. This is just above the boxy mids, you know. It's the ones that are quite hurtful on the strings, but on the brass it's surprisingly a lot better. Just because of how the timbres and the instrument work. Then I put some delay on, oh yeah, because as you hear, originally it was to the right. I put this to prevent it, but before I did it I put some delay, because when it was to the right, I could put some delay to make it more even and longer. So okay, after what did I put after? I never remember. Theremin and weird voices. Okay, so yeah, I heard this and thought it was very weird. You hear it's super synthy and it's not realistic, so it's a little weird. Especially when you hear a solo legato like this, you expect it to be real, at least, you know. And the theremin. So when you hear both, oh, sorry. They both are kind of synthy and kind of the same. I wanted to put this theremin on the left. I always do kind of harp-ons to the synth stuff. So first thing I did chorus. I will put on solo because you don't hear that much in the mix. So chorus, then this, which is a sort of distortion, but you have a very smooth low pass on it, so it's not like like an amp, but it's more if that makes sense. And then you have less of the boxy. Or everything that's under the boxy thing, actually. Sorry. So yeah, you remove what's under the bass. Okay. For the vocal, what I did was kind of the same, not too much. So. First thing that I did, as it's at chorus, adds a lot of width, then more side, because the chorus it's adding sides, but I didn't want it to be fully wet to widen it up. And then less mids, then the same reverb as for choir and drums, but a lot more wet. So, oh yeah, and the theremin, I forgot, but I duplicated the layer and I put it perfect fourth higher, because it's since it's more like a sine wave. Here it's not like a sine wave, but you get the point. Theremin is supposed to be, and if you add a fourth, it's more hearable, audible. So yeah, what did I put after that? Piano swing song wins. Okay. So the piano. It starts with the piano. This sounded pretty good already. I just needed a few things. First, to make the stereo good, since it is in solo, you know. Yeah, maybe yes. Okay, then I put compression on the lows under 300 and boosted it a lot after. Then this is for the mids. I bandpassed and saturated the mids and blended it in. So it's more present, you know. Then hi-fi the highs. It's a lot more subtle than the other ones because it's in solo, you know. And then this is interesting. This is for the second part where the strings come in. So you hear is first off a lot less loud, more compressed, and you have less lows, less presence, so it's blending in a lot more, like if you were in the orchestra, you know. Like it's creating this contrast of first being solo and then with the whole orchestra. But maybe it's a bit too much, but you know, it's good like that. After that, can I remember? No, I think I'm gonna have dementia soon. String longs. These are what you hear, actually. So like this, it sounded already very good. Of course with panning, because you want to make it more uniform. So it's right, center, left. The violins have some compression, but it's a very smooth compression by Airwindows called Elation. You want it slow because it's a violin sustain, and then a lot less highs. Oops. The violas have epic reverb for them. Here they're doing the same notes, but for example here yeah, here for example, they sounded a bit too harsh when they were super close. So with reverb, yeah, and now they sound better. The cellos, it was a bit more complicated, but attenuate the fullness a lot. So 250 because we already have the bass and the percussions doing it. So let's put the basses and the short, the drums doing it. So when you put it, it's blending in more. Because you don't want it super loud. And what I added too with it is this bit crash. For some reason, bit crash always sounds great on cellos. You can hear it a lot better in What We Fight For by Carpenter Brett, but yeah, that's not the video. So yeah, it's really good. Then I added this, which is a saturation. Just to add a little more mids and high mids, more on the mids, and hi-fi the highs. So you can hear how it's opening it up. Energy 2 is really good, you should get it by Airwindows. Okay, where is my Alzheimer? Boom 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 boom. Wins. Oh yeah. And oh yeah, I wanted to show the shorts also first, because they are different. Or sorry, I showed them already. Yeah, the intro is going to kick in really fast for me. Okay, so you have bass, trombone, horns, and a second horn, which is sort of lead. I kind of wish we had this more in the track, because it's opening it up, it's making it a lot more epic, but whatever. So we have a lot of things on it. Firstly, when I put some things on it and sent it to Akuro, the maker of this track, he said he wanted more attack, so highs, because I kind of attenuated it. So let me do the work too. Okay, so more mids, high mids, more bass. Let's hear already. Okay, and then this, which is a resonance here between 340 and 800 hertz. It's kind of loud in some parts. There in either the strings or the brass, you have a lot of resonance. In some parts, if they aren't mixed well in the library. And it's making more close than it needs. So okay. Now less of the bass boxiness. Then saturate the lows, hi-fi the highs, and more presence. So as you hear the combo of attenuating the lows then saturating them is a little more soft, a little softer, which is what I wanted because we already have this, the bass, etc. Then oh yeah, I put this, which is to merge a little the stereo image, and I also have this, which is for this. So first thing, with this, I wanted less boxiness. It was very prominent. Blends in better. And then you have this, which is automated. Listen to when the choir come in. And now if I don't put it, now if I put it, sorry, listen to the difference. So it's kind of, you know, when you automate the volume to let another instrument come, hear the choirs, it's a little harsh sometimes, because you know, in synth stuff is not so hard because you have a lot of room to be unrealistic, but in this context I cannot just fade out the brass. So what I did is automate the highs of the brass after the mids, you know. So high shelf, boom boom, and it goes down when the choir comes in. It's a lot more realistic and subtle than volume automation, and it lets the room. So yeah, then you just have distance, right? Boom boom boom. Distance is just to soften it up a little bit. The lows and the highs, you know, it adds some. Wait, no, it removes the rawness of it, kind of in an analog mixing console way, you know, and then hi-fi the highs. Alright, after that, winds. they were kind of an afterthought, because well, firstly, I didn't have them until the end. So the runs, I didn't really put much to them because they didn't need much, and they aren't what needs to be pushed, but I put some highs, more highs. Whoops, sorry, this. Really subtle, but in the whole mix, but you can hear it a lot. Here. So let's remove the energy too and then put it back. You hear it's making it more breathy and more it's kind of like slow sonic. When you need, for example, something to cut through, but you don't want it to overpower everything, usually the extreme highs is a good way of making it stand out. Not so much. So. That is, for now, the mix. And I wanted to then automate things. You already heard the automation because it's a little inconvenient to not put them when you hear, but let's try to show you. First thing is this. So the drums and everything that I automated is here. Basically you just do record notes and automation, put a pattern and move the knob while the pattern is doing. If you're doing some stuff in Patcher, make sure the knob is activated, and also make sure you deactivate the record button after recording it, because imagine you put a lot more, like when you want to do fixed moves, like just this louder, then it's going to say, oh, it's automating and it's getting louder in the track, which you don't want. So yeah, make sure you be careful. So the gist of it, I wanted to accent the accent even more, and here it is super loud, and also it's super loud in the accent even more than before. So wait, I have to show you first this. So you hear when you are at the beginning of the bar, it's going up and then it's going down. It's all really subtle, because in the end, when you do on the single channel or single bus, 1 dB difference, you don't hear that much, but you hear it subconsciously, and it makes you feel like this is more human, and this has more movement. But yeah, so this kind of movement repeats itself, and then those are very lows because those are weird tacos. And here I put it super loud, so in comparison, let's hear when I had this in comparison to the choir. You know, it's at the same level, roughly, and then here. It's really, really loud. I did this because there is a duality here. When you hear more percussion and less of the tonal elements, the sustain elements, you have more epicness, more softness, and it goes either ways. So either you have more epicness by throwing a bunch of rhythmicality in your tonal instrument, but here it wasn't so much that way, so it was the second thing, second scenario, where when you have more tonal than rhythmic, it's more soft, and then here it's just more dancey, more groovy. So you have a kind of duality to always keep in mind how loud the rhythmic stuff is compared to your tonal or sustained stuff. And also listen to how the boom boom gets super loud with this. Boom boom, you know. So you have to kind of know the song right before you write the fader. So yeah, I also automated, because here you see there are two. I also automated the bass of the tacos and the miscellaneous drums. You remember when we put this, the bass bus sub thing. You don't want it to be always there, because having always weight is a recipe for ear fatigue and kind of it makes everything weak after a while. So it's better to have just one or two parts that have a lot of weight, and the other are either no weight or a lot less. So listen to the difference in low end when you have the second drop and the last drop. So and the last drop. You hear it's a lot heavier, and here too is less heavy. You see it's kind of doing the same movement, as in you put it higher at the beginning of bar, and then you slope it down, and like if you put it with the drums automation, this makes it accentuate even more the movement, because when the drums hit louder, they have more bass, and it creates even more contrast. So. What did I want to put more? Oh yeah, the violins and the corn parts. So, oh yeah, first thing, bass thing, they have a lot more sometimes that they need, and the why is simply because you have a lot of compression, and I put them to have a consistent low end, so you need to automate them a lot. And this time I didn't write the fader because it was needed to be a lot more clean and a lot more precise. So you hear here it's overpowering everything. Now when I put this, your bass is at a good volume when you kind of hear it a little bit subtly, but it kind of falls apart if you put it back. So let's try. So yeah, and violins here. So you hear when you this is going up a lot more. It's just a question of following what you feel is the right dynamic for this for each part of the song. And then you also have at the end this is very loud actually, but it's kind of intentional because you want to have a sort of jump scare at the end, It was very funny. One thing to note is that after that you don't hear it in the rough mix because it's already all done, but I edited everything. You kind of see here. I kind of edit everything so that you don't have rhythmic disalignment. So what do I mean by that? For example, the choir and basses. They were there was a lot of instances in this track of the peak point of the instrument being late. So you hear how it kind of kills everything, and this was the case for almost all of the tracks. So I lined it up by ear with the drums. Also the cymbals need to hit at the right moments. So for example, oops, sorry. So yeah, I wanted to show this. Sometimes you want it to be right when it hits. but sometimes you also want it to be right before it hits. So you know, and that's because, for example, here it was very heavy and very busy, the whole thing, and so putting the cymbal in this place would not feel right because of that. But if you put it right before, it has the time to ring out, you hear it, and it's opening up the tracks. Yeah. Okay. So edit your stuff, especially orchestral stuff, to be in the grid, because the libraries, they always have a kind of delay, you know, in the samples, because you don't want to start at the very top peak of the sample. So yeah, then I added something on the two buses, which is consoles about by Airwindows. I will link down below the console video, but it's basically trying to emulate any sort of analog mixing table softness, kind of like I did with Smooth, with a right clipper, or with Distance with Horse 2, but it's a more saturated thing and soft clip, so very analog sounding. I'm sorry for the term, I know it means nothing and everything. So yeah, let's hear the difference. Here it was just tightening up some stuff. So okay. Okay, so this is the automation thing. You see there is a lot of stuff in the master channel, the two master channels, but it's not generally going to be very subtle moves every time. So first thing is a general mix automation. And you also see, like, first you have a sort of intensity crescendo over everything, so that's that. And you also see I put stereo separation automation. So what is this doing? You see on the top left right here, when you move it this way, it's merging. It means it's monoizing everything gradually. And this is some of this is some of the mastering techniques that I learned by listening a lot to Carpenter Brut. So you have, for example, in Run Sally Run, there is this big 8 snare fill with, and everything is going mono, the instruments, while there is a very stereo effect, which is like white noise with tremolo and sort of filter. So yeah, the gist of it that I'm trying to take you here to understand is kind of merging things right before a drop, is really good for adding more impact, with of course the volume drop by master volume or by all the instrument automations. So let's hear it, the stereo separation. And it's really creating a sort of good feel around the fields, where you have it's widening it as it's coming, as it's doing the fill, so that's also a really good effect. And yeah, so that is for it, for the master automation. Now I have one last automation on the master, which is more brightness. So you first experiment. This is it. It's by Airwindows again. It's kind of adding above 10k or maybe even 8k or 9k hertz. So basically you have a lot more highs in this section than this section. It's just one of those other moves, like when you have those mixes, you know, when you that have a low pass start, mellow start, and they finish in a epic, very bright drop, you know. That's another emulation of it. As you see, it's quite subtle, but you hear it with every other subtle thing in the mix, so it's making it very big. So for what's happening, let's hear that here. I added weights, which is Tachy weight, Tachy beef B, Tachy beef M twice, because first for the low mids, then for the high mids, or more like middle mids and high mids. So let's hear all of them. A lot more lows, a lot more mids, just to add a little of clarity and a little more beef, like the name suggests. Then pierced air. Kind of doing its thing. Then I have a lexicon reverb. Yeah. It's a little subtle. You hear it's kind of adding some depth. Then you have slow sonic. And you see it's with purest air and slew sonic, it's a good combination to open up things and make them feel back like they're good again, like more high frequencies is better, you know, for opening things up. Damn. You have Clip Softly, which is a faceless plugin, it doesn't have any interface. It's just a soft clipper, which is quite good at keeping the tonal balance intact when you push it very far. so right before it, more gain. Then you have surge, which is a very special plugin. Whoops, sorry. Let's try to hear what it does on its own. And no, it's not a CPU crackle, it's what it's doing. You have some Surge Tide. It was the first version of this by Airwindows. The basic gist of it is kind of an LFO, but not really. It's trying to mimic and accentuate the picks very slowly. So instead of being like a transient shaper with very fast boom boom boom, think of this being a super slow transient shaper where it's accentuating the waves of things, and when you add it to a mix, it just makes it feel like you have more movement, and so it's even at 2%, it's adding a lot of life to the mix. So after that, a small reverb. Which is quite bright. Then you have virtual tape. Which is a super good kind of thing for big transient thing. Wait, what did I say? It's a very good kind of saturation and compression for things that have super high transient. So it's kind of like Varemu, but just a little less. So I blend it in just 3%, and it adds more of that edge thing. Then you have a Varemu, which is also similarly just 3%. Let's try to hear it. I love the Varemu compression style for when it's driven like this, because it's just you know, when you have like a metal sheet and you hit it very hard, it's doing a like this, and it's just a very big sound that is very useful. And all of this is quite subtle, as I said before. Then you have this, which is texturized. I'm sorry for the CPU going high. So never mind the clicks, you hear the this is really what we're seeking with texturize, because when you blend it in with the rest, it's kind of adding low-end punch. So yeah, and at the end of it, you have a byte, a last byte instance, which is, as I said, kind of to add more attack to your things. So very low, 3%, and lastly, just more sides, and more gain. Let's hear it. And you see why I use the clip softly. It's firstly it keeps the tonal balance like clip only, but also when you clip things instead of limiting, you don't hear the transients being cut off, you know, it's going so fast. So that's the last thing in the chain, and I just realized I forgotten to put back the reverb, which is this. Wait. And this has console, subbing console, so that like this to have analog thing going on is a reverb I made with Galactic, a bit crusher, another bit crusher, and then bit shifter an octave up. So it's meant to be like a very high shimmery reverb, but kind of edgy in because of the bit crush. You hear it with the voice especially. But I decided to put it a lot more back, so even if it's here, even if it's here, you probably don't hear it consciously, because you know, and it's blending in with all the rest, and that makes it very good. So you have a lot of layers, you have a lot of reverb layers, you have a lot of bass layers, and then you have saturation and everything. Then you have more highs, slew sonic, another reverb, very subtle, and then you have surge with which adds to the movement, reverb, tape, compression, Vermi compression, both mixed in pretty low. You have more punch in the lows, and you have more attack, and you have more sides, and your thing, and that is the whole mix. So now, with all of that in mind, let's try to hear how it sounds. So, as you heard, the CPU is crackling when I put it all, so I will just use the bounced audio and do a bunker pose. Boom, boom, boom. Oh wait, there already is one. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's try to hear it. So that is it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. I hope you learned something, hopefully, and yeah, enjoy this mix. Bye bye.